Let's talk about marketing as an introvert. So, marketing as an introvert is, I thought it would just be literally impossible to market. I did not like the term marketing. I thought that marketing was all about talking about yourself on social media and bragging about what you do. And so I was pretty resistant to this idea that running a business would be marketing would be a part of it. This is video 2 of my series, Entrepreneurship for the Non-Entrepreneur Types, because there's a lot of videos teaching the entrepreneur types how to do the things, and they're all on board for it. But what if you're starting a business and you're like, "I never thought I'd be starting a business, and I want to, or I need to, all the things." And I'm gonna tell you right off the bat that the skills that I'm sharing, like how to start a business quickly, that's video number 1, not get bogged down in all the details and the paperwork and paperwork procrastination, as I call it. This video 2, marketing, because if people don't know about you, people can't buy from you. But if we're an introvert, if we're not loud, we're not pushy, then we want to do this with integrity. And I have purposely structured this to also be one of those meta in moment things. As in, I'm going to tell you right up front, I've got 3 steps to make marketing simple, even if you're not the loud, the pushy type. And also, I'm going to reveal at the end what I did to demonstrate all 3 steps and make it in a way that's fun. So, as I reveal the 3 steps, you can tell me what I did in the video. As soon as think you have a guess, put it in the comments. It'll just make it fun. It'll make it a fun little activity, but I did something unusual for me. Let me just say that. So, marketing, let's just make marketing super simple because my thought is this. If we make it simple enough to understand and doable enough to do, then we can just keep on doing anything until we get good at the skill. I'm going to say this right up front. Sometimes the people that are most amazing at marketing are the worst at teaching marketing. Because I was not naturally amazing at marketing, I feel like I'm actually going to be pretty good at teaching marketing because I had to learn it as a skill. And I got this idea. So think about marketing like you think about math. And do not freak out when I say the word math. So many people think I'm not naturally good at math. But if you'll think about math as just something it's like levels. And if you just master one level, then you have the skills naturally to learn the next level. The problem when we teach math is that we're teaching it too quickly. We are not getting to mastery to people, and we're not giving them, and maybe we're not teaching it too quickly, but maybe we're not giving enough practice to get to mastery either. And so in the school system, it's just set up to where we just take the whole class and we just move them forward. And we never catch the gaps in somebody's understanding. Somebody might be struggling on college level because they never mastered fractions, or they might be struggling with learning higher levels of math because they can't do mentally like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I am pretty ticked off, and I'll let you vote in the comments how you think about this. I would love to hear. But I don't like the attitude that because we have a calculator, we don't need to do mental math anymore. I think being able to do mental math actually makes math easier. When you know right off the top that 12 times 12 equals 144, then you also know, oh, this answer can't be right because I know 12 times 12 equals 144. And what the calculator will catch little things like that. Same thing. I've noticed with marketing that when I just studied it like it's a skill I'm learning, like math, learn the basics, then learn the next basics, and then learn the next basics. And I think there's 3 levels. And I'm going to tell those to you in just a second. That when we treat it like this, we're continually getting better at marketing. Here's the fascinating thing about getting better at marketing. There's no tap out in this. a lot of people think, well, marketing is a matter of just throwing money at ads. And it's like, well, you can throw all the money in the world at an ad, but if the ad isn't very marketable, isn't very good, isn't very interesting to your person, then that's just wasted money. Or you could have gotten the same amount of benefit from marketing organically if you're very, very interesting. So now let me talk about the 3 tiers of marketing so that you can like understand, oh, I want to master this. I want to master addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division before I go on to fractions. And certainly before I go on to algebra and start throwing letters into unknowns. All right. So the very first level of marketing, if you will simply think of marketing as communicating person to person, then that is the piece you want to master first, and that is the easiest way to learn first. So when I started my business, I told people face to face what I did. I remember the very first time I did it, and I screwed it up royal. The preacher at the church says, "Hey, I saw your post on something, something. You're a life coach?" And I said, "Yes, I'm a life coach." He's like, "Interesting. What's that?" I don't know what I said after that. I just know it wasn't good. And I went home thinking, I've got to learn how to explain that. That's marketing. You're like, oh, I didn't know the answer to that. When somebody's interested, let me come up with a good answer. And so it's trial and error. And you learn how to say it haltingly, and then you learn how to say it better, and then you learn how to say it to the right people. I recently had an experience where, so one of the simplest things that I do now when I'm talking about my business to potential clients is I just ask them what's going on in their life and their business. And they talk about, what's going on and things like that. And usually they also say, I'm kind of struggling with this. And then after a while, the conversation comes to my side and they say, what are you? And I say, I'm a clarity coach. And to them, it's so clear what I do because they just had said, I'm struggling with this. I don't know how. And they're like, oh, well, maybe I need to talk to you. I'm like, yeah, here's my link. Super simple in person, super simple. But I also had the experience recently where I was talking to somebody and he was in his mid 60s, I think. And he knew what he was doing. He had a ministry, he had a business, he had to do this, and then he asked me, now, what is it you do? And I said, I'm a clarity coach. And he had no idea because he didn't need any clarity at all. So he never thought, oh, I wonder if. And so he's like, what's a clarity coach? And I said, well, when people get stuck in their business, I help them find out where they're stuck and why and help them come up with a solution to resolve it quickly. Because we had just been in an event talking about cash flow, I said, because confusion creates cash gaps, but clarity creates cash flow. And that was a new way of talking about it at that moment. That's marketing. Okay. So think of marketing as a skill like math. Like if you will master each level incrementally, it's not hard. It just takes intention. It takes focus and understanding what do I not know and what do I need to know next. And think about marketing as so level 1 is just communicating person to person, explaining what you do in a way that helps them, benefits them. And what I mean by that is you don't explain what you do like you're trying to sell yourself, but you explain what you do in the context of their problems. Like, this is how I help people like you. And so you want to say it in their language. Have you guys figured out what I did yet to make this video more marketable? Okay, we'll keep going. Anyway, you could also put a laughing emoji if you don't want to give the answer away. Sorry, I'm having so much fun with this. So level 1 is person to person. Then you want to think about how to talk person to people. And a lot of times you're going to do that on social media. This is why I recommend you learn how to talk person to person, because you will find the words that really resonate with people and the stories that resonate with people and the examples. And then it's easier to share what resonated, what stood out most clearly online. So many times we as introverts are in love with the idea of marketing online and only online, not realizing that it's actually harder for our words to get heard through the noise and talking one to many. So you're going to have to be way more intentional. So, we don't know if is it your words? Is it that you didn't grab their attention in a fast acting world? Where is the problem? Where's the breakup? So that's why I want you to think of marketing online as a second tier from marketing one to one. And then the third tier is marketing one to I debated on either like doing it as sales, like putting money behind your stuff, or marketing one to many, like in a live presentation. A lot of times, people want to jump to that mastery level of being able to sell from stage, and they haven't mastered how to sell one to one. So when they get up and they selling on stage, they don't actually sell. They just talk at the people. And to be able to talk to a group of people live, but still make it sound like it's a one-to-one conversation, still do the same kind of connecting the dots, bridging the gap from where they are to where they want to be, their problem and their desired outcome and your solution in the middle, that is a whole nother level. So many times people are trying to learn the tactics of selling on stage or the tactics of paid marketing. I think both of those are high level without having mastered, without understanding the principles underlying it. So I'm going to share with you 3 principles now of marketing that will help you think, am I doing these 3 things? Number 1, the goal of marketing is to make yourself findable. That's why if you go to a networking event, you already did it. I am trying to make myself findable right now. Did you notice what I did? I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see how long it takes people. So make yourself findable. And like I said, with one-on-one, you just go up to a person and you talk. Or you can do, if you're an introvert, you can attract people to yourself. Did you know this? This is my favorite thing to do. So, like, I might dress up a little bit more for the event or wear a bright colored jacket or, well, I think those are my tactics. I make myself findable that way. I might sit in different places during the event so I can meet different people. That's another way that I make myself findable as an introvert. I love one-on-one conversation. I excel in that. So sitting next to different strangers in a group is a way to do that. To make myself findable, I might find myself an extrovert to make myself findable. That is another thing I love to do. Either take an extrovert along with me because they find people for me and then we just have conversation, or find an extrovert myself, take my husband along, he's an extrovert. But when I don't have an extrovert, then I scoop myself around the event a little bit more. All right, that's one way. Other way that we make ourselves findable is creating a website, creating a Facebook page, handing out business cards. Those are all ways that we make ourselves findable. Okay, that's the point of marketing, is to make yourself findable to the people who are looking for your solution. My husband made himself findable through Yelp and Google ads on his painting and remodeling business. And it was fascinating. He just had somebody contact him who lives overseas, I think Taiwan or something like that, or Thailand. And they had a home in the area that they wanted work taken care of, and long distance. And it was interesting, it's like, first of all, let's make sure it's not a scam. And because a lot of that comes from those kind of places, those sources of advertising, Google, LinkedIn, in case you didn't know. I wasn't saying from Thailand. And so he asked, how'd you find me? She said, the next time they talked as a follow-up, and this is why he has a call, so he can actually talk with the person. He doesn't just do transactions online. Weeds out a lot of people. The scammers don't usually want to get on the phone. Pro tip there. The next time that he talked to her, he's like, "You'll never believe this." She goes, "I talked to my mom. I said, you were helping me." She goes, "I know that person. I was in his mother's wedding." They were bridesmaids. Her mother and my husband's mother were bridesmaids at each other's wedding. Isn't that crazy? Small world. That's making yourself pre-findable in a roundabout way. All right, that's number one. That's the goal of marketing. Now, next, after making yourself findable, you really want to, the next principle is you want to make yourself unforgettable. Okay? This is where people act loud and act pushy or feel like they have to be loud and they have to be pushy. But you can make yourself unforgettable in different ways. Most times, people remember me. They're like, "Oh, I remember you asked me that really great question." I don't remember asking the question. It's just I've always asked questions. I've just found people that appreciate the questions I ask now versus growing up, the people that did not appreciate the question I was asking. "April, you asked so many questions. April, you asked too many questions. April, you have so many questions." But when somebody's wanting clarity, the questions are what get them there. Find what's unforgettable about you and share it. I think that this is what the Bible is talking about when it said, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." It is finding your unique selling proposition, finding what's unique about you and highlighting it. Make yourself unforgettable. Again, my husband in his service-based business, what is unforgettable about him is the speed and professionality that he brings to his jobs. People on it all the time. His crews always wear uniforms. He's always in a uniform. They always clean up the job site at the end of every single day so that the client is not displaced even more. Even if it's an empty house, they still clean it up because that's just what they do. That's part of their process. So professionality and then speed. I don't know how he does his work so quickly. He just focuses in and gets it done, and it's pretty amazing. And so he's made himself findable and unforgettable, referable by that. When you make yourself unforgettable, maybe the person in front of you doesn't need your service, but they might know somebody else. And in context, when they're talking to somebody else and they're like, "Oh, I was wondering," your name will come up. And by the way, sometimes the easiest way to make yourself findable and unforgettable is just to use very, very simple language. This is why people always talk about, "Well, you should niche down, you should niche down." One of the reasons you should niche down is because it makes marketing easier because you can use fewer words to exactly the people you're talking to. But that's also, you don't always have to niche down. But if it makes your marketing simpler, you might want to think about it. Okay? I say I'm a clarity coach. Now, that means I am super niche down for a moment in about everybody's life. There's a point when everybody's like, "I could really use some clarity in this season, on this decision, on my direction going forward." And so that is an unusual way of niching down. All right, so make yourself findable, make yourself unforgettable, and then if you will just make marketing fun, if not even fun, if you make it fun for them, it's even easier. Some niches, it might be a little bit harder to make it fun. Like I'm thinking, I don't know if you want to make selling funeral services fun. It'd be interesting to see if that responds better more than, "Hey, we're here for you in your hour of need." Messaging. A lot of people focus on selling to the pain, but if you can make it fun, if there's a way to make it fun and tactfully, gracefully, it makes it more interesting, more easy. The brain just likes fun. But also, make it, if not for them, at least make it fun for you. And that's why I say marketing is something that as you get better at it, it just gets better for you. As in, the better you get at marketing, the more people know about your service. The better you get at marketing, the easier sales is because you've pre-sold people ahead of time. When you understand how powerful marketing is, It does. It's the 20% that does 80% of the work. So you might want to put 80% of your time learning to master this. But again, get good by the levels. Don't try to like jump ahead and then get confusing tactics with strategy with principles. So make it fun. If you're in this for the long haul, make it fun. Now, I'm going to tell you, I always say keep it simple, keep it fun, and then just keep on doing it until it's done. But on marketing, it's keep it simple, keep it fun. Let's just keep on doing it. We're always going to be finding better ways to stand out in a loud and noisy world. Has anybody discovered the way I'm trying to stand out in a busy and loud and noisy world? So this, I'm revealing it now. I wore 2 different earrings on purpose. Typically, I would never do that. That is not my vibe. That is not my mojo. But I wanted to also test if a hook like that makes it my video findable, unforgettable, and fun. Okay. I kind of knew it would be fun. It'd be fun for me, at least, if nobody else. But unforgettable, you'll be like, oh, that marketing video where she wore 2 different earrings to prove her point. But also findable, because if people comment, that makes my video more findable. If people thumbs it up. So I'll take a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you didn't like that, put a thumbs down. If you liked it, put a thumbs up. Put comments in, it'll make the video more. So I'm practicing what I preach. I'm not saying that I'm a marketing expert, and I'm certainly not saying I'm a marketing genius. I am saying that I have become a marketing enthusiast. And just like math, the more you do it, the better you get at it, as long as there's not gaps in your understanding. And before we close, I want to give a couple of really next steps for you so you can take this marketing even deeper. One of the best and shortest books, this will be very important for you. One of the best and shortest books I have ever read on marketing is the 16-word sales letter, Eduardo Alvarado. I think I said that correctly. I'll put I don't know if I'll be able to put a link in the description, but I'll put it in the description. 16-word sales letter. It's very, very short. It's a short book, but it really goes into what you're trying, all the different parts that make communicating between you and your potential buyer, like all the things that need to be communicated. And if you say all of these things at once, it greatly increases the odds that people are going to buy from you. But as you're thinking it through, it'll greatly help you figure out what is it I'm selling and how am I benefiting people. So that is resource number 1 that I wanted to share for you. And then the second, and give me a second because I totally just blanked out. Oh, I remember what it is. It is when you do go from one-on-one to on social media, there is a simple 3-step formula that you'll always want to keep in mind when you're marketing. And if you don't know this yet, if you know this already, then you'll probably agree with me. Like, this is the gold beginner step standard. This is the framework that every beginner should know. And if you don't know it, I'm telling you, you need to. So it's called hook, story, offer. And I'm going to share one more right after this. I hope it doesn't confuse you. I hope I don't overteach. Hook in the very first second or 2, or the very first sentence of your post, or in the visual, you need to have an attention-grabbing hook. I've been trying to work on this with my thumbnails. I'm not great at it yet, but I'm getting better. That's why I wore these earrings. I was hoping that, whoa, what? Does she even know she's the perfect matching ear? That's why I did that. Hook, it also created the story. So hook grabs the attention. Story helps them remember. So hook makes you findable. Story makes it unforgettable. And then the offer is the call to action, the next step that you're wanting them to take. And even if you're not selling them on something, it's still beneficial always to offer an invitation to action. You want to turn, when you're marketing, you kind of want to train your audience to be action takers. So leave a comment or comment your aha, or share this with somebody that it might help, or give me feedback. What do you think is the top reason people do or don't do this? That it turns it into a conversation, number one. It turns it into a give and take. Imagine that you're marketing one-on-one and you do all the talking. That's a networking event. There was nothing in it for them. They didn't get a chance to participate. There was no relationship created. So when you are making the offer or the call to action at the end, that third piece, that is you inviting them into the relationship a little bit deeper. Please interact with me. Let's deepen our relationship. So, people who do this, people who think of marketing as deepening relationships, which is a very natural thing for introverts or for gifted people, this is where we can shine at marketing without being bold, loud, or pushy. Because we're not loud or we're pushy, but we're bold in our relationship invitations. I'm welcoming you into the conversation. I want to know more about you. Because this is love language of introvert, let's go deeper. If we're going to talk about something, let's talk about something deep. All right. So, hook, story, offer. And the other thing that I was going to share, I'm totally going to skip on it. I call it the Pepsi formula. If you want to know about that, it really up-leveled my conversions on writing posts, and I'll be glad to share it with you, but why don't you book a call for that because it's a little bit long for this. All right. So make yourself findable. Marketing is simple in 3 steps, and also 3 skill levels, so one-on-one, then on social media, one-to-many, and then the in-person or paid one-to-many. You really want to have your message dialed in when you get to that level, because otherwise it just sucks to feel like you wasted an opportunity, or it sucks to feel like, like I've just seen a lot of people pour a lot of money to learn, like how to sell from stage or how to do TEDx presentations, things like that. But it's like, if you don't understand the marketing mentality behind your teaching, then it's going to be a missed opportunity. You built some authority, but you missed the chance to convert it to sale. And if you have a business, that's always your goal. Remember, our goal is always to make a profit. All right. So make yourself findable, make yourself unforgettable. And if you'll make it fun, then your people won't burn out on you and you won't burn out on the process. All right. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If this has helped, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, do all the things, share it with somebody. And next week, we'll take this conversation even further, this series, and we'll talk about how to do dun 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 sales. I'm going to share with you the one thing that sells more than anything else. Without it, you probably won't make the sale, and with it, you probably will. And took me a lot of missed sales until I figured this one out. Okay? All right. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.